Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is trigonometry for grade 11. So we are going to be tackling triangles and we are going to be calculating or determining without the use of a calculator. So we are given alpha as the angle there, and then we have the radius or the hypotenuse will be the 13, and then the x, which is -5, b, which is y, it's b. Yeah, that b represent the y, so we have to find the value of b before we do anything else in this question. So the first thing that we're going to do is to find the value of b, and for that I'm going to be using the Pythagoras theorem to determine that. Now, without wasting any more time, let's just get into the video. So guys, as you know, the formula is r squared equals to x squared plus y squared. So I am gonna do it like that: -5 squared plus b squared equals to 13 squared. So I will take the 5, move it that side. We will have b squared equals to 13 squared plus 5 squared. Whenever a number crosses over the equal sign, it changes the sign in front of it. So if it was a positive 5, when it comes this side, it will then become negative. So because it was negative, it will now become positive. So we have our b squared is now equal, the 13 squared is equals to 169 plus 25, right? So b equals to root 144. So we square root to get rid of that square, and then b equals to 12. So this is the value of b. Now we can determine number a, cos alpha. Yes, I've written b at the top here because I need the space to work. So let's write here SOHCAHTOR. Sine is opposite over adjacent, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, sorry, I didn't include the h there. Adjacent over hypotenuse. Tan is opposite over adjacent. So here we're asked to determine cos alpha. So the reason why we have to find b is that we need to know the value of x, y, and r, and we are going to use them to solve these problems. So you can draw a line there. So this line is the one that is 12, and then here is -5, and this is the angle theta, right? Alpha. So here what we're supposed to do is to say cos theta or alpha in this question. Here as well we'll write alpha, because we're not using theta, we're using alpha, is equals to adjacent over hypotenuse, right? So cos alpha equals to, this side is adjacent to the alpha, so that will give us, we have to substitute this one, which is -5 over, this is the opposite. Sorry, this is the hypotenuse. This is always the hypotenuse, the longest side, so that will be 13, and the answer will be cos -5 over 12. Yes, the cos will equals written as cos alpha equals to negative 5 over 13. So we have determined A. Now, for B, we first have to check in which quadrant is 10 positive. And you are going to find out that in that quadrant where from 180 minus theta or alpha, 10 is negative. Right? So we are going to write it like this. 10 180 minus alpha equals negative 10 alpha, because 10 is negative in that quadrant. And then you are going to see what does 10 is equals to adjacent over opposite over adjacent, right? Negative 10 equals to 10, 10 alpha equals to opposite over adjacent, which when we look, the opposite angle to alpha is 12, and then the adjacent side is negative 5. So because this 10 it was negative, so this is how you're going to do it. Include this negative of the 10, and then what you get is a positive 12 over 5. This will cancel that, and then you will have a negative 12 over 5. All right, this is the next question. We have 5, 10a plus 4 equals to 0, and a is the element of a real number from 180 to 360, which means the triangle that we have to draw has to be between 180 and 360. Now, without a calculator, determine the following: 2 cos 180 minus alpha, and then number B is sine squared A minus 90 minus sine squared alpha. So in this question, we have to solve the following without the use of a calculator. Now, the first thing that we have to do here is that we will have to arrange that 510a plus 4 equals to 0 correctly, so that we can get the value of x and y, or the hypotenuse. So when it's like that, it's really not going to work, but we know that 10 is adjacent, it's opposite over adjacent. So we need to find the opposite and the adjacent side to alpha. So this is how we are going to solve that. So this is the equation that we're given. It's not usual for this type of question, and you're like, what is happening here in the exam? Because this is a previous question paper. I have just written it down on the board. So we're going to say 5, 10 equals to negative 4. We want 10 alpha by itself. So we will divide by 5 on both sides. And then 10 alpha equals to negative 4 over 5. So you have to check in which quadrant will we have a positive 5 and a negative x, a negative 5. That y, because it's opposite over adjacent, that 5 may represent the x, and that y, and that negative 4 may represent the y. So we have to find in which quadrant will those two numbers qualify. All right, when you punch all that into the calculator, that's going to make the whole fraction negative. So it's not just going to be -4, but the whole fraction will be negative. So you need to choose a quadrant where both x-axis and y-axis are negative, and that is quadrant number 3. Oh, sorry about that. Not quadrant number 3. We just have to find a quadrant where x will be positive, because that's the 5, and the y will be negative. Yeah, that's quadrant number 4, sorry, not number 3. So that's what we are going to simply do. So we'll draw on the Cartesian plane. This will be our triangle, 5 here, and then we have -4 here. So what we are going to do now is to find this, the radius. So for that, I'm gonna use r squared equals to x squared plus y squared, right? R squared equals to 5 squared plus -4 squared, and that, when you punch that into the calculator, the whole thing, you will get 41. Now you square root, and r equals to -5. Sorry, not -5. When you write this into a square root, you will get root 41. So that will be here, root 41. And now, because we have the radius as root 41, we can now calculate 2 cos 180 minus a, and in that quadrant, which is quadrant number 2, cos is negative. So because cos is negative, we will say 2 cos 180 minus alpha equals to -2 cos alpha, right? So what is cos? Is adjacent over hypotenuse. So this is the angle, this is the opposite, and this is the adjacent, and this is the hypotenuse. So we're gonna have it as -2 into what makes cos. What makes cos is that 5 is adjacent over hypotenuse. So we're gonna make 5 over root 41, and that will give us a -10 over root 41. This will be the answer. Now let's go to the next one. Okay, sine 90 minus theta is cos. Sine cos minus theta is sine, or they can be added, right? So when we see sine theta minus, or sine alpha minus 90, or sine theta minus 90, or 90 minus sine theta, that automatically becomes cos. And when we see cos 90 minus theta, or theta minus cos 90, that is a sine, right? I hope your teacher told you that. So here we have sine squared a, sine squared a minus 90 degrees minus sine squared a. So this whole part, we're going to use 360 to decrease this. And this one we will do it in another video where we try to decrease, but I hope you know that from school already. That will be equals to cos squared alpha plus sine squared alpha, right? That is the one that you will get. And then from here we can substitute what the cos is adjacent over hypotenuse as well. So that's what we will use. That is 5 over root 41 squared plus sine, which is opposite over hypotenuse. This is opposite to this angle, so that will be negative 4 into root 41 squared, and that will equal 9 over root 41. And that is the end of this question specifically. So we will move on to the third. We'll move on to the third question, which is the last one. All right. Now here is the third question. So we are given this drawing on a Cartesian. There are points on a Cartesian plane. So we have to determine sine beta and cos 180 minus beta. So we don't have the value of x, and we have 24 here as y, and then we have 25 as the hypotenuse or the radius. Now we have to look for x in order to solve these problems that we have. So in order for us to do that, we are going to look for the x. We're going to use Pythagoras. R squared equals to x squared plus y squared. Alright, so we are going to substitute points. That is 25 squared equals to x squared plus 24 squared. Now this will be 625, and this you take it this side so that we can have x by itself to be able to solve, and that will be 24 squared will be 576 equals to x squared. Now we are going to minus this and square root it. We are going to have 7 equals to x. That is the final. So because we are given it, which means this x is negative because of the quadrants that we are given. This, yes, so x has to be negative because here x is negative. You can see it, right? The x-axis this side is negative, but the y-axis are positive. Now we have this. The next thing we can do is to solve. These questions are very easy, guys. You just have to find all the sides to this triangle, and then you just do practice SOHCAHTOA. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So this is angle beta. So this side is opposite to beta, and this is always the hypotenuse, the longest side of the triangle, the longest side of the right angle triangle. So that will be that. So sine beta will be equals to opposite, which is 24, over hypotenuse, which is 25, and that is the final answer. And then for B, we first have to see if B cos is negative in this quadrant where it's 180 minus theta, so cos is going to be negative. That is equals to negative cos beta. So you have to check what is cos. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So the adjacent side, negative outside, it's 7, which is negative, over hypotenuse, which is 25. And then the final answer, this negative will cancel this one, and then you will have 7 over 25. Now let's add another one to make it the third one before we close off this video, and that will be 10 negative beta. And in this quadrant, 10 is positive, right? So you just say 10 equals to opposite, which is 24, over adjacent, which is 7, and then you just get 10 is equals to, oh, that is, sorry, it's also, yeah, it's also negative in this quadrant. That's quadrant B. So you will say this, the negatives will cancel, and then you have a positive 24 over 7. Thank you very much for watching this video. We have come to the end of the video, and I hope you guys found this video informative, and it really helped a lot in your trigonometry journey at school. Until the next video, thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.